People are out here misusing your social and you don't even know it. Hard inquiries are the worst. Even when you have good credit, having too many hard inquiries can actually be what gets you denied from creditors wanting to extend you even more credit because too many hard inquiries actually makes you look desperate. In this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly how you can go about getting hard inquiries removed from your credit report, the types of stall tactics you should be looking out for from the credit bureaus because they get paid to have this information reported on your credit. So it's not really in their best interest to take anything off. And because I know most of us are in the process of wanting to buy a house, get a car, or just get better credit cards, I do also want to share with you the difference between a soft pull and a hard pull so you know how to navigate the new queries you'll probably have over the next 6 to 12 months and be able to balance that to keep your credit score from taking a huge hit. As always, down below there's timestamps in the description. If you want to work with me one-on-one, you can always book a strategy call, but I've got my notes and I've got my water over there, so let's go. Now, you might only be familiar with a hard pull because that really impacts your credit. It actually makes up 10% of your score, and every hard inquiry is probably taking away 1 to 5 points off of your overall credit score, depending if you're looking at your FICO or your Vantage. Vantage scores don't really weigh each individual hard inquiry that takes place if it has taken place in the same day or within the first 14 days. But the FICO score will weigh each hard inquiry that you get hit with. So if you've ever applied for an auto loan or even a credit card with Capital One, that bank loves to pull all 3 credit reports. So you can expect to see a hard inquiry on each of your credit bureaus if you apply for credit with them. But if you are someone who is looking to apply for credit and you have the ability to actually go through a pre-approval, this is when a creditor is only going to do a soft credit pull, aka a soft inquiry. Now, no other lender is going to be able to see whether another creditor actually did a soft pull. That's only going to be visible to you because it's your credit report. But a lender, when they do the soft pull, they're also not going to be able to see inside of your credit report in full detail. So if you have the opportunity to go with the pre-approval before you get hit with that hard inquiry, I would recommend you do that because, again, that lender is not going to see if any other lender had ever done a soft pull against you. They're not going to be able to see the full payment history on any of your credit reports, and it will not affect your credit score. Now, a hard inquiry is going to make all of your business front street with a creditor. They're going to be able to see the full details of your credit reports, whether you're holding a balance, whether you've ever been late, if you've ever had any of the hard inquiries with any other creditor. Maybe you didn't get those accounts because you got denied, but that hard inquiry is still there. And this is where the desperation kind of seeps in, which makes you appear a little risky to that creditor who might have considered you for a line of credit if they didn't see everything they saw. Everyone's talking about how easy it is to remove hard inquiries, how you can get hard inquiries removed from your credit in 24 hours, 72 hours, just like that. And the reality is that's very much true. Now, the 3 methods you could be using to dispute your hard inquiries can be done either by the mail, online, or over the phone. Using the mail method, which is you just sending a dispute letter through the mail, isn't really the most ideal because if you are going to dispute by mail, I always recommend to my clients to send in letters via certified mail, which is somewhere around $4 to $6, don't quote me, per letter that you would be sending in. It's not the most ideal, and you still have to deal with the fact that it's getting to the credit bureaus through snail mail, and I'm sure you want faster results. So going by the phone or online method is always going to be what I highly recommend. But when you call in, you want to make sure that you are not calling in way too late in the day. So anytime after 4 p.m. is not ideal. The credit bureaus in the United States are in a couple of different time zones. So just make sure you're calling prior to 4 p.m. in the time zone that the credit bureau you're reaching out to actually sits in, because people want to go home and nobody wants to deal with anybody arguing with them over hard inquiries. You're going to want to be very nice to the rep. You want to tell them that you see hard inquiries that you don't identify and you need some help getting them off. A pro tip is they are probably going to ask you to go reach out to the creditor. Just tell them you've already done that and they told you to contact them, the credit bureau. The phone method is the fastest method because usually people can see these hard inquiries come off almost within 4 hours sometimes. Just remember, the system has to automate, so if you don't see it in 4 hours, that's okay. You might see it in 24, but it's fast. Third method is actually my favorite for my introverted kings and queens who probably just don't want to talk to people on the phone. This is going to require for you to go get an FTC report, submit that report along with a dispute letter through the CFPB, and make sure you are watching the CFPB if you're watching this April 18th like a hawk, because they have been a little slow with their transmissions over to the credit bureaus. So keep an eye on that just in case. The FTC report you're going to want to get is an identity theft report. So if you made it this far in the video, thank you. Education is always my favorite thing, because some people might feel a little uneasy about doing an identity theft report and sending it into the credit bureaus because it seems so official, it seems so police-like. So let's walk through why we want to utilize an FTC report in the process of disputing hard inquiries. We have to go all the way back to the FCRA, which is the Fair Credit Reporting Act, and we have to look at permissible purpose. Whenever anybody is accessing your credit report, they have to have permissible purpose to do so. And a lot of times this permissible purpose is because business is being conducted. You might be surprised, debt collectors do have permissible purpose when they can prove that they own the debt and you owe it to them to access your credit report. But say you were at a car dealership and you were talking to a car salesman. 9 times out of 10, nobody's whipping any paperwork out until it's time to make a deal and you sign your name on the dotted line to get that car. But the entire time you're in this conversation with them, they're probably telling you how they can get you an amazing deal on a car with a low interest rate that fits into your monthly payment, yada, yada, yada. They've got you on your feet out in the hot sun, probably a little delirious, whatever. But do you ever recall anybody handing you any type of form that might have said the Social Security Administration at the top of it? I'm going to assume probably not. They probably didn't hand you an SSA 89 form for you to fill out to give permission to them to utilize your name and your Social Security number in order to extend you credit to take out a loan. They probably didn't even use those words, because if someone said, hey, I'm going to run your credit about 10, 11 times, is that okay with you? You would probably run. They probably just presented it as, let me get your information. I bet I can get you a sweet deal. And sweet deal they might have gotten you, but they would have also gave you the keys to the car and about 5 to 6 hard inquiries right on your credit report. But this is the type of situation that you can leverage when it comes to disputing these hard inquiries, because you likely were not fully disclosed that this is what was going to be done with your name and your Social Security number when it came to getting you financed for a vehicle. Hence the misuse of your Social Security number. Old traumatizing memories of purchasing a car aside, let's talk about some of the stall tactics that the credit bureaus are likely going to use in order to keep this information on your credit report. Because remember, they get paid to have this information on your credit report, whether it's good, bad, right, wrong, they're getting a check. The primary FCRA law that you are going to be looking to use whenever you're disputing hard inquiries is going to be 605B. And this basically just requests that the credit bureaus block the information. Because again, you didn't give anyone concrete permission to misuse your Social Security number in this manner in order for you to get one car. You went there for one loan, which should have resulted in one hard inquiry. Now, during the process of you submitting this dispute, whether you call in, you send a dispute letter through the mail, or you do the online method, you are going to have to identify yourself. Now, with any dispute that goes to the credit bureaus, I tell my clients they need to send in a copy of their driver's license or state ID. They need to send in a copy of their Social Security card that has their Social Security number on it and their name. And they also need to send in a copy of a utility bill that has their name and their address, especially if their current address doesn't match their driver's license because they haven't updated it yet. Because failure to identify yourself is one of the credit bureau's favorite stall tactics because it's the easiest. If they can't tell that it's you, they don't have to do anything that you say. Which leads me to a common stall tactic when you are disputing hard inquiries and you have provided all of the identification information that would say that this is you submitting this dispute. I'm going to put a copy of a letter that one of my clients had gotten from Equifax specifically. The verbiage is going to look different, but the substance will be the same, even if you were to get this from TransUnion or Experian. But it's basically a contradiction. On one hand, you have Equifax saying that they can't do anything that you requested in your dispute to remove these hard inquiries until they do an investigation, because you have yet to properly identify yourself. If you know that you have sent in proper identification of yourself that has your name, your address, a picture of you, you've sent in a copy of your social security card, and you sent in a copy of your utility bill, they don't have proper standing to say that they can't identify you. And the FCRA 605B statute requires them to block the information within 4 days. And since they're refusing to, they are now becoming willfully non-compliant. The CFPB is a watchdog, and even in this process, we're using them as a tool in order to submit our disputes by doing a CFPB complaint. But the FCRA, which is the Fair Credit Reporting Act, is what actually governs the 30 credit bureaus. So when they're being willfully non-compliant, they're being non-compliant with the law, not the CFPB. So they are now willingly ignoring your consumer rights, which gets us into the territory of potentially being able to sue the credit bureau. In the event that you end up getting this letter, one thing that you can do, which is probably faster, is to just give them a call and say, hey, I submitted a dispute. It was me. I gave you all my IDs. You sent me this letter back saying you were not going to do anything about it. And I want to know why you're being willfully non-compliant. Another method you could use that is not as fast is to submit another complaint through the CFPB. And you're basically going to say everything I literally just said and pressure them to go ahead and block that information. Now, in the past with that particular client, they sent that letter and then like 7 days later, they ended up removing the information anyway. So it was like a waste of paper. I don't know, they're crazy. But I hope all that information did help you so you can just go ahead and get rid of those hard inquiries off of your credit report so you don't look thirsty like I am. But if you like credit repair tips and credit building hacks, I hope this helps.